We can begin and get this ready. Sorry about that. So we have a really great webinar in store for you, and I am currently in Texas. So we're going to go ahead and get started. So welcome to American TESOL Presents Free Friday Webinars. I'm Shelly Sanchez-Terrell, your host, and today we're going to talk about posters. Now, we're here every Friday. It's free with American TESOL. And you can bring a friend, you can get the access to the recordings. It's over 200 recordings, and of course you can get the slides and the bookmarks if you go to shellyterrell.com. We also have the Teaching with Technology certification, and you can always get that if you go to esltech.com. There are lots of different teachers who do or have digital poster projects that they conduct with their students. And if you currently have an integrated technology, one of the easiest, best ways to do this is to go ahead and to take whatever poster project you have or anything where you have a cardboard poster, and to have your students get creative with free digital tools. Now, there are many benefits to having students work with digital tools to create their poster projects. One of the good benefits of it, so you'll see the tools in a bit, but one of the, these are many of the benefits of having a digital poster project. First, it's digitally preserved, and that's definitely something that's important, because when you're a student, creating the poster and taking so much time definitely takes time and money. A lot of times my teenagers who would create beautiful posters, they would use glitter. They would have to go to a store over here called Michael's, a craft store, or another store, and they would have to get things to make labels. They would have to get their own stickers, and that can be pretty costly. So if this is to avoid that, you can have a digital poster project, and there's a lot of the tools that will give students the same abilities to create nice labels, to have different types of effects, and really make it look nice. The other problem with a cardboard poster is that students often have to go and they have to take a bus, or they have to lug it in the car. And if it's bad weather, then more than likely it's going to get destroyed. So it's definitely good for that reason to have a digital poster instead. The other great thing is it's actually quite simple and easier and faster to do. One of the reasons why is because you can have media libraries. So a lot of different digital poster tools and apps give students the ability to be able to take their project, and they can get, for example, different Creative Commons or stock photos that particular, or even clip art, that's all part of that app or tool. The other really great thing is that you'll be able to publish this online, and your students can redo this project again. They can use the information, and if they need to do it years later inside another class and they just need to remix it, or they need to use some of the references or resources, they'll be able to do that, and they'll be able to share it with the wider global audience that will be able to comment as well. So how do we start? Well, digital poster projects are a lot easier than many different types of projects. Why? Because pretty much as soon as you get on the tool, then your students can start finding their resources, and they can start creating. They can take all the research they've already conducted, and they can start making the poster. You could probably do this within a 45-minute lesson, or if you're doing something over a long term, then you could also have it to where students work in different steps. Before they start the project though, if you have the time, if you have longer than a class period, then it's good to teach them visual rhetoric and design. Now, this is a graduate course that I took when I was at the university, and it really taught me so much. This is how I was able with my bachelor's to learn how to do things with students, such as, how to really design things like white space. How much white space do you have? What is the appropriate text? How is this text going to look on a mobile device? Because now, when your students make these infographics, or they make these poster projects, or in some cases interactive slides, then it's going to look different on different mobile device. So these are good things to think about. And now that you teach things like coding or web design, and those are becoming much more important, and these are becoming actually things that you need for the job sector, then it's quite important that they learn design and layout and background and principles like that. But there are some great resources for that. So one of the great resources is Art Skills. Art Skills is a great, if you go to it tells you with regular poster help. But the thing that I really like a lot about Art Skills is that you can use these different design principles as well when making a digital poster. So it's a little bit different, but it gives you definitely things to think about. It goes over topics like what is the right color, what colors clash, and this is definitely something that's important, because your students, a lot of them are going to want to do hot pink on black, and we know that doesn't look well. These aren't definitely there are certain colors that don't mesh together, that aren't going to, for example, they're not going to look good. They're not going to. The audience is going to have a hard time seeing them. There's certain fonts, even though they're really cool, that are not going to look that great. So it's important that we go over these with our students, so that way they'll be able to know that. So I'm going to go ahead and share that link with you in the chat box. And if you have any other links as well, please feel free to share throughout the session. The other things is it gives you ideas of brainstorming ideas as well. So actually, each of these different things that are at Art Skills, you can have in the lesson as well, if you wanted to go ahead and you wanted to prolong this or make it a long project. The other place that I think is really fantastic, and actually is a digital poster creation tool, because Art Skills isn't, but one of the ones that is Canva. And Canva is really fantastic, because Canva, all of these ones that I'm going to show you today, Canva is the one that has lesson plans, and it has visual guides and workshops and webinars your students can attend, so that they can really learn about these different types of skills. They'll learn things like they have branding guides. They just came out this week with a free ebook branding guide that you can get from them. It's free to sign up with Canva. You can also have different types of workshops that talks about fonts, colors, images, and there's a lot of different stock images and things like that you can use with Canva. You can find many different digital projects, digital poster projects, and then you can find rubrics. You can find where students evaluate each other's poster projects and stuff. If you happen to have my book, Learning to Go, or the 30 Goals Challenge for Teachers, it talks about it there. So now let's get to the good part. Well, some of the good part is all of the tools that there are, so you can create some really fantastic tools. So what I want to do right now, though, is I want to go ahead and share with you a link so you can get all of the resources and you can have access to all of these tools in one area. And you can also download the slides, which is shellyterrell.com posters. And Sean in the chat box is saying he loves to use Canva too. So we have another advocate here who really supports Canva. Canva is actually Guy Kawasaki, who recently, I was in Austin and he recently did a keynote at iPad Palooza, is actually one of the people behind Canva. So if you are familiar with Guy Kawasaki's work, then you know he's really fantastic at digital design. He's fantastic at branding and everything that Canva is about. Buncee is one of my favorite tools, and this week Buncee just got a free, they got a new upgrade. So Buncee allows you to draw, and it has a lot of really cool things that you can do now with Buncee. I really think you should take a look at Buncee just to see all the cool things that you happen to be able to do now with Buncee. The other great thing is Canva and Buncee have incredible apps. So I do want to get you with the Buncee. If you happen to have an iPad, then you want to get the Buncee Pro app. This is a free app. It allows your students, if you're a language teacher, then it allows your students to record audio within their digital poster. The other great thing about Buncee is that Buncee, if you have the iPad app, there's also an iOS, iPhone, iPod app as well. But if you happen to do that, the Buncee Pro one, that's the only one that lets you record audio for free that I know of at the moment. But if you happen to have the other apps, you can still create beautiful multimedia posters. There is also the ability to draw with the new Buncee. You can add podcasts as well. So your students, if you have an ongoing podcast on SoundCloud, you'll be able to embed that within your Buncee poster. So there's quite a few things that you can do. I'm going to show you a few things about infographics, but you may want to check out this really incredible. Infographics TED Talk. Now you can find all of these. Once again, you can find the links even to this TED Talk at shellyterrell.com posters. If you scroll to the bottom, you'll be able to see all the links. But in this one, TED actually has one on infographics. So if you go to TED Ed, you'll even find the infographic lesson. And I'm going to try and get that to you too. So that way you can introduce students, if you decide to do data visualization, what is the process of creating an infographic. And so let me see if I can find that one for you. It's inside the links. But this is definitely a good TED Talk that you can go ahead and you can have with your students. That they can go and that they can go ahead and they can actually access that. Okay, and here is that lesson plan. One of the steps of your poster project is to have your students learn how to be good at digital research. We had a previous webinar where we talked about how students can conduct effective digital research. And so, of course, you can always get any of the recordings or anything like that. You can go to shellyterrell.com and get those. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to share with you a link to all the previous presentations. You can get the slide shares there, all the slides. But then there's also the American TESOL YouTube account, and that has a lot of stuff as well. So let me go ahead and give you those as well, and you can find out a lot more information on how you can help students be good at digital research. The great thing is that a lot of these posters, when you look at ThemeLink, when you have PictoChart, when you have Canva, when you have Buncee, when you have Buncee, which is the newest, coolest tool that I'm loving at the moment, you really get to have your students be able to link to that research. They can cite their resources. And that's something that's really hard to do with a printed poster because they waste so much paper, and to have a works cited page included is more paper. And really, when you have a big poster project, who's going to go and check out those references? I think it's better with a digital poster project, such as using a tool that's free like Canva. If your students use Canva and they can use it on their laptops, they can use it with their Chromebooks and computers. When they use it, they're able to link to that research so other people can go check out that research. And that's what I really love about it. So Canva has particular templates that are made specifically for infographics. They also have templates that are made for slides. They have them for PowerPoint, like sort of PowerPoint presentations, but with more wow. They also have where students can just make a regular poster. They don't have to make infographic. But the great thing about Canva is you have templates, and students and you love templates. Why? Because templates make it so much easier to visualize what you want to do. It makes the process faster, and it puts in those design elements. My other favorite tool that I love right now is Buncee. Buncee, they used to be called something else, but the reason I love Buncee is what does it do that's different than the other projects? Well, one of the things that you can do with Buncee is that you can get your students not only to choose templates too, but it has effects. It's a lot like in PowerPoint when you have slide effects and transitions and animations. So what it does is, yes, you have the same digital poster, but when you click on it, it can fade away and give more information. When you click on it, it can do things like, for example, it can disappear or it can turn around. So I think that's really cool because if you wanted, for example, to put something like a graph like in this Buncee right here, then what you could do is you can even show things like maybe that it goes up or maybe it goes down. So I love that it has these cool visual effects that come with Buncee. You can create a banner ad just like you can with Canva. You can create a presentation as well. They don't seem to have an app at the moment, but I think they are developing one. My other favorite tool for making infographics is PictoChart. PictoChart, I've made many infographics before. It gives where you can link to the actual icon. It gives you different templates as well. It gives you clip art and lots of things as well. It's not as interactive because the only thing you really can do, you don't have the slide effects or anything like that. So all you really can do is to create links to those icons. And then of course you have Buncee. Now Buncee is really fantastic with all of the tools that it has. It even has an education section with lots of different Buncee slides that you can remix. Sorry about that. It's a little bit loud back here. But you can see here the video recording, the audio recording option that is in Buncee, the iPad app. You can see where you can draw. You can see where you can add text. You can see where your students can add their own pictures. They can choose from backgrounds. Here's an example of a poster where the student's talking about the butterfly life cycle. So you see all the clip art and stuff. All of this was made with Buncee's media library. Now, if you go in the regular Buncee, it looks a lot different than it does here. It's actually much more user-friendly. The other one that's really good to use is Tack. Now, the thing that I like about Tack is you can use it on any device. You can use it on a Chrome. You can use it on a Kindle because it's HTML5. You don't actually have an app if you want. All of them are free, so that's a good question. All the digital poster tools that I'm showing you today are free. They all have a freemium, and then you can pay for premium options. Yeah, very excellent. So Tack.com can be used in any device. You have to actually go to Tack. You have to type out Tack.com in order to use it. In other words, you don't download an app or anything. You have to use it through the browser, but you can use it in the browser of any. I've tried it. I've tried it on my iPad, my Chromebook, all of that, and it works. So Tack is very good for that. The other good thing is that if you don't want your students to register right away, oh my gosh, then Tack is really good because you can sign up after you create the poster. So a lot of the poster projects do not allow you to not just they have you log in right away. But if you want them to create a poster really quick, the great thing about Tack is that they can sign up after so they can save that poster. ThingLink. ThingLink is a different type poster. So after if you want your students to create poster offline, let's say they use, I don't know, something like, for example, Microsoft PowerPoint or something to make a poster. They can make infographics and stuff with Microsoft PowerPoint. If they do something like that and it's offline and you get them without the internet to do it, then what you can do to make it more interactive and make it a digital poster is what you can do is then you can have it go to ThingLink, and then on ThingLink they can have hotspots or hyperlinks. ThingLink has a free app that's on iOS and Android, so I think that's really cool. You can even add pop-up videos. Now Bobby asked, can you make a class account for Tack? No, at the moment I don't believe that you can unless they changed that recently. So unfortunately, but there is a trick you can do. Okay, so if you want to have Tack and you want to do, for example, where your students don't have logins, one of the things, if you have Gmail, and I'll type in an example in the chat box, you can do your name. For example, mine is shellyterrell@gmail.com, and you can log in like that. But if you want to create extra accounts, then all I would have to do is add a +1 in my name. So I'm going to go ahead and type that for you, where it says login, and then you do your email. So I'm going to go ahead and show you what that looks like. And that will all go to the same email. So that will all go when I do +1 login. So that way your students don't have to do, for example, they don't have to do their own email accounts. That will all go to your email. So if you can see in the chat box, it says login shellyterrell@gmail.com, login shellyterrell +1 @gmail.com, and login shellyterrell +2 gmail.com. All of that goes to shellyterrell@gmail.com, so that makes it to where you can easily set up different accounts for your students. Yeah, it's I learned that recently, so from Michael Graffin, and it's a really good, useful tool. Teachers also like, and I think it's really good, it's a safe platform as well, smore.com. It's more digital flyers, but you can add videos in there, so you can also embed YouTube videos. You can make it look really nice. You can see this example here. It looks more like a poster. It allows more text. So you might want to have your students do this for a science fair project or something like that. Or if they're trying to make a digital flyer for something, they could do that as well. Another possibility that isn't exactly the best option, I think, but it is something you can do, is blendspace.com. Blendspace is great for flipping classrooms. So if you have your students create lessons and then you want them to create like a lesson board, let's say that you're having your students teach a lesson to their peers, they can use blendspace.com to collect different videos. So it's more like curating their poster. It actually shows the websites and everything they put together for a poster. So it's not necessarily where they get the design elements. It's not where they get to make labels. It's not where they get to make, have stickers or put their own text really or anything like that. But they can add quizzes and stuff like that to it. So it is a digital poster, but it doesn't allow as much as Canva, Tack, Buncee, and Buncee. So digital research. There's a lot of different ways that you can teach kids how to make sure they cite and attribute their sources correctly. One of the things that I really love is this poster. This is a digital interactive poster. You'll find it at the Kentucky Library, and it's definitely in the links. But one of the things that I really like about this poster is it gives you a format. It shows you how to teach students about or what to cover. So you can even show your students this. And I like it as a guide because it really shows you what is involved with having a digital, what's involved in research as it is. So I really do like that a lot. This one is the Country Virtual Library, and it has, for example, these are clickable links, the plan, and then you have where students are brainstorming, they're planning. Let's say it's a science project poster, then they can do that. Or it could be something simple where they're showing a recipe and it's a recipe poster, it's a how-to poster. Whatever type of poster it is, they have to plan it. And then it goes through the second step, which is to search for information. Well, where am I going to find information? Where am I going to gather research? That could be a day in the library for you, or it could be a day in the computer lab, and you can show them different types of resources where they can search the web for their for information. The next part it shows you in the process is for them taking notes. And that's really important as well for them to gather good research. At this point, I really think it's important that students, to be able to be effective and good at research, it's important that they know about social bookmarking and curation. You could get them in something like Edgy Clipper. Edgy Clipper is a great way, and it's safe for students, and it's safe for teachers, and it's free. So that's really great. And so they can take notes with Edgy Clipper, but they can also they can keep these notes, and then they can link later on their digital poster. And then how are they going to use the information? And it talks about things like attribution, copyright, and things like that. Students, when they're doing research, we talked about before extensions, and there's lots of great extensions in all of your browsers, whether you use Safari, whether you use Firefox, whether you use Google Chrome like I use. You'll be able to find extensions that help your students become better at research. And of course, they can always plan their poster project. They can always do the research notes and everything. And they can even do a works cited page or a reference page using Google Drive. If they use Google Docs, they just go to Tools. And under Tools, they choose the option for research. And this cool little research box shows up on the sidebar. And it makes it easy for them to research and have the MLA, APA, or Chicago style citation. So it's a good kind of planning place for their poster. There's always, paper is great, and I like paper as well. The problem is that they don't get to take that research around with them, or sometimes it fades away, or they can't read their own handwriting. So it's a good option to have them plan. And if you are connected with Google Docs, then you can use this offline. Your students can type and everything and have access offline. Another way to make sure that they have proper citation, there's the EasyBib app. It's free for iOS and also, I believe now, Android devices. You scan the book's ISBN and it automatically comes up with the citation. So how do you present the posters? How do you gather them all together to make sure that your students are able to use these posters and comment on them? Because that's the really powerful part, is when they share the research and other students can comment. So there's a variety of different ways you can do this. You can create a board on Edgy Clipper or Pinterest, and you can put them there. That would be my, or even LiveBinder, and these would be the options that I would suggest. I think those are the best for digital poster projects, Pinterest and Edgy Clipper. But a lot of teachers like to use Wikis. You can use Storify, Pearltree. You can put it on your LMS. They can post it on Schoology, Edmodo, any of those places. And if your students are able to comment that way as well. You could do it also on a Listly account. But the safest for teachers and the most effective is to have them on a LiveBinder or Edgy Clipper. You could even put them on a Buncee. This is what Edgy Clipper looks like. So you can see where it'll give the, it'll let you simply, you can have a board where you basically, it's a lot like Pinterest. You just kind of pin it on the board and then you'll have them all gathered together. Your students can even turn in their posters. You can create assignments. This is free. There's a free option for teachers that you can go ahead and you can have it to where they can go and they can be part of. You can give them assignments this way that are in board. You can give them that digital poster, and then you can receive boards back from them which show their research, which show their notes, which show their works cited page. This is what I used for my students when they did their digital portfolios. So we put them all on Pinterest. And you see how really pretty, nice, and visual it looks. Buncee has a great Pinterest page that kind of shows you what the Buncee infographics looks like. So I can share that with you, and then you'll see what it looks like when your students have it as well. So I'm going to go ahead and show that with you so you are able to see the different infographic boards and things like that that Buncee has. And then this is what it'll look like for your students as well when you pin a bunch of infographics on your in yours as well. It's important your students learn how to remix materials created by others responsibly. That means that they can use things from the public domain. They don't have to give attribution necessarily for that. If you go to the pond5.com, you can find a lot of audio, images, 3D models, video, just really GIFs, really fantastic things. One of the things I found was a cell automation that was part of public domain. So there's so much that you can find. You don't necessarily have to give attribution, but it's always nice if you do. Now, if you want to have other things, you can have where you have Creative Commons. And Creative Commons, you do have to attribute what you get. And you can find all of those resources as well if you go to my Pearl Trees with Creative Commons. And I'll share my Pearl Trees in the chat box so you'll be able to have access to all this. So let's say you have a paper poster presentation. How do you animate that? Well, if your students have to print these out and they're going to present them, for example, a science fair project, there's some really great ideas to make that interactive and digital as well. One of the things you can do is you can find a lot of templates for research posters if you go to posterpresentations.com. This is what I use when I do my poster presentations for conferences. If I want to show some good research and stuff, I'll use the templates. But you can see this one I designed, and what I did was I added QR codes to make it more interactive. So so every participant just goes, they read the information, and they have the QR code, and then they can answer a poll. They can see a video. They can add an audio clip. They can connect with me. They can go to the works cited page, and they can go ahead and click on the references or have it for themselves. So this is one way by integrating QR codes that you make it more interactive and you make it a regular paper poster presentation. You're able to make it more digital. My favorite places for QR codes are Clickmark, Unitag Live, QR Stuff, and iEnigma. I always go with Clickmark. They have an iOS device, and they have it for iOS and Android devices. The reason why I prefer that versus iEnigma is because with Clickmark, you can actually not only scan QR codes, you can create QR codes. So why wouldn't you want to do that? You have it all in one app to create and to scan. Well, you can make a poster presentation digital and actually 3D in a way. Actually, you make it augmented by using Erasmus. If you use the Erasmus app, then your students will love making it where they can make it in augmented reality. So people can scan their, of course the people will have to download the Erasmus app, but they can go ahead and use Erasmus, your students, they use it on the browser, and they make it to where their posters come to life. And your students will really enjoy that. People will love that as well. A lot of times when you go to a science fair project or anything, a lot of people don't interact with the posters. So if you're going to print it out, use this to make it more digital and to make sure that people interact with that poster. There's lots of guides and rubrics out there for having poster projects. You don't have to reinvent the